In my last class, I have discussed few important properties of congruences. Among the properties, we have observed one important property, that is, if A is congruent to B mod n, then for some integer C, CA is congruent to CB mod n for any integer C. Whether the converse is true, in fact it fails to hold, because if I have an example, say 8 is congruent to 2 mod 6. Okay, this can be written as, say, 2 into 4 is congruent to 2 into 1 mod 6, right? I cannot directly cancel 2 and write 4 is congruent to 1 mod 6. In fact, 4 is not congruent to 1 mod 6. In brief, one cannot cancel a common factor in the arithmetic of congruences. With suitable precautions, cancellation can be allowed, and one important step is the following theorem. Okay, theorem says if CA is congruent to CB mod n, then A is congruent to B mod n by D, where D is the GCD of C and n. So how to prove this? See, it is given CA is congruent to CB mod n. So by the hypothesis, we can write CA minus CB equal to K into N for some integer K. For some integer K. Then this is same as writing say C into A minus B equal to Kn. And then it is also mentioned that D is the GCD of C and N. Knowing that GCD of C and N is D, I can say there exist relatively prime integers x and y such that, say, C equal to dx and n equal to dy. Now I substitute C and n in this equation, so that this equation becomes C is dx into A minus B, which is equal to K into n is dy. Okay, now I can cancel D, so that x into A minus B equal to ky, right? Yeah. Now it just implies that y divides x into A minus B, y divides, since k is some integer, so y divides x into A minus B, and we know GCD of x and y equal to 1. Therefore, I can say y divides A minus B. This theorem we know. So y divides A minus B, which just implies A is congruent to B mod y. What is y? Y is nothing but n by d. Therefore, I can write A is congruent to B mod n by d. Hence the proof. Important corollary to this is, if CA is congruent to CB mod n and GCD of C and N, instead of giving GCD as D, if they are relatively prime, then it just implies A is congruent to B mod n if the GCD value is 1. And the second corollary, which is quite important to solve problems, if CA is congruent to CB mod n, in fact mod P, and P does not divide C, where P is a prime number, then A is congruent to B mod P. Instead of having GCD D, here we have got prime P, which does not divide C in fact, and if that is the case, A is congruent to B mod P. One of the more interesting applications of congruence theory involves finding special criteria under which a given integer is divisible by another integer. Okay. For that, what we do is we represent a number, in fact an integer, in terms of polynomials. Okay. We call it as polynomial function of some integer, maybe x or something like that. Say we all know a decimal representation of a number. We can convert that into a binary number, right? When we convert it into a binary number, then that decimal integer can be written in the polynomial function of 2. Okay, 2 raised to 0, some coefficient into 2 raised to 0 plus some coefficient into 2 power 1, like that. Okay, so that is nothing but polynomial function or polynomial representation of an integer. So we know like that we can write a decimal integer in the form of octal representation or hexadecimal, like that. Now here, by using that expansion polynomial function, we are checking whether one integer is divisible by another integer. Okay, so to solve problems based on that, we should go through some theorems. It says, first one, it says P of x, it is written in this form, summation k ranging from 0 to m, ck x power k be a polynomial function of x with integral coefficient ck. If a is congruent to b mod n, then polynomial function of a is also congruent to polynomial function of b mod n. Let us see how it is. Okay, see, polynomial function is nothing but like this. We write it like this. Say c0 plus c1 into x power 1, c2 into x power 2, like that. I hope you know this. Here it is still k, so I'll write ck into x power k, like that. This is the polynomial representation. Now it is given a is congruent to b mod n. Now by the properties of the congruences, I can write a power k is congruent to b power k mod n for some integer k ranging from 0, 1, dash, dash, dash till m. Let's take it like that. Now I also know any integer is congruent to itself. Ck is congruent to ck mod n, right? So from these two I can just multiply these two congruences and I can write ck a power k is congruent to ck b power k mod n, right, by using the properties of congruences. Now see, this k ranges from 0 to m. If k is 0, then what happens? C0 is congruent to C0 mod n. And if k is 1, then C1a is congruent to C1b mod n. Like that, I can write ck a power k is congruent to ck b power k mod n. So I'll add up all this, okay, and I'm getting the summation, k ranging from 0 to m. In fact, this has to be m, ck a power k is congruent to summation k ranging from 0 to m ck b power k mod n. Or in different notation, I can write this as a polynomial function of a. So p of a is congruent to p of b mod n. That is what we have to prove. So if any integer is written in the polynomial function and a is congruent to b mod n, then polynomial function of a is congruent to polynomial function of b. Note that if p of x is a polynomial with integral coefficients, we say that a is a solution of the congruence. Okay, that is p of x is congruent to 0 mod n if p of a is congruent to 0 mod n. Then only we say that p of x, then only we say that a is a solution of this polynomial function. Okay, let us take one more theorem. So to check the divisibility, we go for many division tests. Among them, one is whether a positive integer is divisible by 9 or not. If it is divisible by 9, then sum of the digits in the decimal representation is also divisible by 9. Means we are writing the number in terms of decimal representation and we are taking the coefficients. Whether that sum is divisible by 9, then whole number itself is divisible by 9. That's the same thing the theorem says. Let n has got this decimal representation, okay, and s is nothing but sum of the coefficients. Then 9 divides this n if and only if 9 divides yes. So let us see how it is. Now we know the polynomial function. Consider the polynomial function p of x equal to summation k ranging from 0 to m a k x power k, a polynomial function with integral coefficients. It's a polynomial function with integral coefficients. Now we know that, so you have to look at this number usually. We know 10 is congruent to 1 mod 9, right? So I can write by the previous theorem, I can write polynomial function of 10 is congruent to polynomial function of 1 mod p. But p of 10 is equal to n, right? It's a polynomial function. It's a decimal polynomial function in terms of 10, right? So that is nothing but this representation itself. And p of 1 means this x is nothing but 1. Okay, instead of 10 I have got 1, so this is nothing but am plus am minus 1 dash dash a1 plus a0. So p of 1 is a0 plus a1 plus dash dash am, which is nothing but s. This implies p of 10 is congruent to p of n by the previous theorem, right? So I can write n is congruent to s mod 9. It follows that n is congruent to 0 mod 9 if and only if s is congruent to 0 mod 9. Right? So I can write 9 divides n if and only if 9 divides s. So another divisibility test is divisibility by 11. If n has got the decimal expansion, okay, and t is a0 minus a1 plus a2 dash dash minus 1 power m am. Please notice the change. Then 11 divides n if and only if, 11 divides n if and only if 11 divides t. Proof is similar to the previous one. We know 10 is congruent to minus 1 mod 11. Minus 1 mod 11. So from the theorem I can write P of 10 is also congruent to P of minus 1 mod 11. P of 10 is nothing but the decimal expansion, so it is nothing but n. P of minus 1 is nothing but, in place of 10 I have got minus 1. Okay, start from here, a0, no change. In place of 10 I have got minus 1, so this becomes minus a1. Like that I'm going to get alternate positive and negative signs. a0 minus a1 plus a2, like that. I don't know what is the value of m. It may be even or odd, so I'll just write minus 1 power m am. Okay, in fact this is nothing but t. This is nothing but t. So P of minus 1 is t. So that n is congruent to t mod 11. It just implies either both n and t are divisible by 11 or neither is divisible by 11. Okay, either both n and t are divisible by 11, divisible by 11, or neither is divisible by 11. So the question will be like, they'll give you n, integer n, and they'll ask you to check whether it is divisible by some integers, either 9 or 11, and you have to go by this method only, not by the actual division. Without performing the division, determine whether the integer 15,71,724 is divisible by 9 or 11. Okay, I have to check. Number is given, n is, and I have to check whether it is divisible by 9 or 11. I have to check both. Okay, now what is s? N is nothing but, we know this can be written as 4 plus 2 into 10 power 1 plus 7 into 10 power 2 plus 1 into 10 power 3 plus 7 into 10 power 2, 4 plus 5 into 10 power 5 plus 1 into 10 power 6. This is the decimal expansion of this number. Okay, these are the coefficients, AIs, right? So what is S by divisibility by 9 test? S is nothing but A0 plus A1 dash dash AM, right? To add up all the coefficients. Here the coefficients are 1, 5, 7, 1, 7, 2, 4. and the sum is plus 4, 24. Sorry, 27. 3 is there. 27. I'm sorry. 27 is the sum. Now, this 9 divides 27, right? So I can say, I'm sorry, 9 divides 27. Therefore, I can say 9 also divides n. And if I take t over here to check whether it is divisible by 11 or not, for that t is a0 minus a1 plus a2 minus a3, like that. So a0 is 1 minus 5 plus 7 minus 1 plus 7 minus 2 plus 4. So minus 4 plus 4 will get cancelled. 14 minus 3, it is 11. So 11 divides t, therefore I can say 11 divides n. So the number n is divisible by both 9 and 11. Next comes out to be, suppose n has got this representation, and we are saying you are writing n in terms of polynomial function in B, okay, and then we say number is divisible by b minus 1 divides n if and only if b minus 1 divides a0 plus a1 dash dash am. Okay, you can use this result if it is asked to check whether the number n is divisible by 7 or 15. Okay, you can use that. You can write the number in terms of decimal form, and then you check whether number is divisible by 7 or not. If it divides that, if its coefficients are divisible by 7, then that number itself is divisible by 7. Similarly, if you have to check whether it is divisible by 15, then you have to write the number in hexadecimal form and take up the coefficients. If it is divisible by 15, then number is also divisible by 15. I'll take up problems regarding this in my next video.